every cup of coffee donates money back.
It has become my church home.
And we get to go and deliver capes. It's what makes everything work.
They were having another naked stage event.
We have this thing at Union, and we call it the divine spark. And it's this divine spark that leads us to be co-creators.
You meet every kind of person in Union. Lots of students, of course, a lot of small business owners, a lot of freelancers, community leaders. You know, you meet people that really are here for Dallas. It's a good hub in a way that I think a lot of other coffee shops are not, because they didn't put it into their mission, but Union did.
In 2016 alone, we were able to welcome over 57,000 people through our doors. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of people for a small community coffee shop that's just trying to do some good in our neighborhood.
Everything in Union is designed to create a culture of people building. To create that environment for a young group of people sets a precedent for them for the rest of their life.
Union has something called Union Way. Union Way is the membership process here where you try to pick something to change yourself, to change the community, to change the world. Capes for Kids, after we talked, that's kind of how he got me to keep doing it. He's like, that sounds like a good Union Way project. I have to try to change the world somehow, so what better way than trying to make kids superheroes?
This idea of creating and doing something and not having to be confined to something as is, that is where I get my most energy from.
The opportunity for ministry to love God and love people is huge here. Who you are outside the door is who you should be inside the door. And that all comes down to breaking down this divide that somehow developed between the sacred and the secular. One thing that Union does and is passionate about is finding God where God is at work and becoming a part of it.
What I think Mike does is opens the door in a safe and nurturing environment for people to open up. And you want those people to open up, because when people open up, that's when they begin to grow.
When we understand people's stories, we understand that there are so many more similarities between all of us. It eliminates barriers between people. It eliminates hesitation in coming together and uniting in projects and relationships. That should be the point of any storytelling.
So I got here because of a story, and most of the time I'm here because I'm usually figuring out how to listen to other people's stories or telling my own.
So my goal, my desire, my mission is to speak across boundaries, to break down boundaries and find that common ground so that we can live in that difference but still have that union.
When the early Methodist movement started, it was because a handful of college students and 20-somethings decided to live a holier life. They thought, you know, there are these things that the church says it believes, and we want to try to put it into practice and see what that could really look like in a new way. That spirit, I believe, is a huge part of what has emboldened and made this space alive. When I look at the number of things that are accomplished here at Union, it is so far beyond this pale of what we are staffed for. Because we're consistently empowering other people. We're catching the divine spark that we hear in people. We're seeing the presence of God in those who might not know God by any name. And we're nurturing that. And we're seeing incredible things happen. And all of that is only possible because the North Texas Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church decided to take a risk. Looked over its landscape and saw that this was an annual conference that was flush with resources, flush with churches, and flush, most importantly, with opportunity to do God's work. And so because y'all have taken a risk, I've seen Union over the past 4 years become a source of hope, a source of inspiration, and a source of life for not just the people who walk in our doors, but for general boards and agencies, for members of other annual conferences, for other churches and church planners and seminarians who are looking and dreaming big about what the church can be. I'm incredibly grateful to the United Methodist Church, especially this conference, for finding ways to support innovative ideas and for the willingness to step out in faith to do great things.